We begin today's wrestling news and rumors video with a bit of breaking news regarding the rated R superstar Edge. Now, as many of you are likely aware, Edge has not been seen in WWE following his win over Seth Rollins at the Crown Jewel 2021 pay-per-view event. And a lot of fans have begun questioning where Edge has disappeared to, and when he will be coming back to WWE to wrestle again. With the new shocking backstage rumors going around right now, it does not look as though Edge will be wrestling for WWE for much longer. As most of you are likely aware, Edge made his in-ring return to WWE last year at the 2020 Royal Rumble, and signed a part-time special appearance contract with the company that would see Edge wrestle a few times each year. And while it was reported at the time that this contract was for about 3 years, new backstage rumors have indicated that Edge will most likely not be wrestling until 2023, unfortunately. A sad new rumor has leaked that Edge will most likely be wrestling his final match during his special return at next year's WrestleMania 38 pay-per-view event, with Vince McMahon reportedly coming to the point where he feels it would be in Edge's best interest to retire sooner rather than later. Especially considering Edge has been injured during this latest run, and Vince does not want the rated R superstar to put his health in jeopardy for too much longer. And this is not exactly surprising news when you realize Edge is 48 years old and previously had a career-ending injury over a decade ago that forced him to retire immediately, and even though Edge has had procedures done since then to try and alleviate the issues with his neck, which allowed him to return to WWE again last year, Edge was not apparently brought back to the company to wrestle a lot of matches or be booked to become a WWE or Universal Champion, and the consensus behind the scenes in WWE is that WrestleMania next year will mark Edge's final match in the company, and after that Edge would likely make a couple of non-wrestling appearances until his contract expires later that year. Now, if these rumors and reports are true and Edge is sadly going to be retiring from WWE next year after one last big match at WrestleMania, it is definitely a bit unfortunate that Edge could not have at least had one more reign as World Champion, because during his feud against Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, a lot of fans were firmly behind the idea of Edge winning that Universal title, even if it meant he would only be a champion for a short amount of time. But instead, WWE decided to keep that title away from Edge, and it does not seem possible at this point that WWE will be giving Edge a title reign before retirement in the near future. With all this being said, let us know your thoughts on Edge likely retiring from WWE next year after having one last big match at WrestleMania 38. And do you think that Edge should be retiring soon, or could he go a bit longer and should consider re-signing with WWE for one final contract? Sound off in the comment section down below. Now, there's no doubt that many wrestling fans are still shocked by the surprise WWE releases and firings that occurred late last week on Thursday, as 18 wrestlers were unfortunately let go in total, with there being some shocking names included in the releases that caught many fans off guard, with the main ones being Keith Lee, Karrion Kross, and Nia Jax. Now, when it comes to Nia Jax, while she was a pretty well-established superstar and a former Raw Women's Champion, not to mention that Nia was always positioned near the top of the women's division, many fans were not angry or too upset with the release whatsoever, with most feeling like Nia Jax was a safety concern for all talent in the women's division, considering Nia Jax had injured many stars during her time spent in WWE. Now, one of our sources has mentioned that Nia Jax was completely shocked by her release from WWE when she did get word of the news, and is rightfully very upset by the news, with Nia Jax letting her fans know on social media that she will need time to process this huge loss. In your opinion, do you think WWE made the right call by deciding to release Nia Jax? Or did she show enough potential that she should have been kept on the roster, and that her reckless style in the ring could have been worked out with some more training at the Performance Center? Keith Lee is arguably the release that fans are the most surprised or upset by, and like we had mentioned before, Keith Lee had all the tools and abilities to be a future world champion for WWE, but horrendous booking caused his momentum to go down the drain, and his release was not that surprising in all honesty, especially after becoming Keith Bearcat Lee recently, which sort of signaled the beginning of the end of Keith Lee's career in WWE. Honestly, Keith Lee should have been given more of a chance to succeed by Vince McMahon, and really should have been drafted over to SmackDown, where he could have contended for Roman Reigns' Universal Championship as a fresh new worthwhile challenger for Roman Reigns, and that storyline made sense given their meeting before. but instead WWE decided to future endeavor him, which is not a great call whatsoever. Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux were two other releases that caught many fans off guard, because they both had great potential, especially when paired together. But much like Keith Lee, terrible booking caused Karrion Kross's demise on the main roster, and Scarlett was sadly released along with Kross, unfortunately. However, there is no doubt that Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux will find success outside of WWE, and Impact Wrestling would likely be a good fit for the wrestling couple. With all this being said, were you surprised by any of the releases from WWE last week, or were they inevitable after the way many of them had been booked recently? Sound off in the comment section below. We now have some very sad and downright tragic news regarding the game Triple H, and more so Triple H's in-ring career in WWE. As most of you are well aware, Triple H had a big health scare back in September 2021 that required Hunter to undergo heart surgery, and since then Triple H has been recovering at home and has yet to return to his job behind the scenes in WWE. Thankfully, it looks like Triple H will be recovering from his health scare and will eventually be able to return to his duties backstage in WWE. But as far as Triple H's actual wrestling career, a breaking new behind-the-scenes rumor has revealed that Triple H has likely been forced to retire from competing in the ring for good, meaning that Triple H has quietly retired from wrestling permanently. One of our sources has mentioned that the general consensus behind the scenes in WWE right now is that Triple H is not expected to ever wrestle again for WWE after his health issues for obvious reasons. And while one final retirement match is not entirely out of the question, if doctors were to theoretically clear him for one match far down the line, as of right now it does not look probable whatsoever that Triple H wrestles another match for WWE, unfortunately, as it would be too much of a risk and strain on Triple H's overall health. Without question, this is devastating and sad news, as Triple H's in-ring career has suddenly ended because of his health issues, and this basically means that Triple H more than likely will not be able to get a proper retirement or send-off match in WWE, as it would be way too much of a risk. And again, it is unlikely that WWE doctors will be clearing Triple H to wrestle. With the way things are headed, it sadly seems as though Triple H's match against Randy Orton on Monday Night Raw in January 2021 will be his last or final in-ring appearance in WWE.